action figure enthusiasts out there. JC here, and welcome to a Wednesday edition of TNInews Live. And we've got a lot to cover today, and it's going to be a busy week. We've got another Marvel Legend live stream coming up tomorrow, which is a little bit of a surprise to me, being we're less than 2 weeks away from Toy Fair, and we just had a live stream for Marvel last month. So I wasn't really expecting them to do another live stream before Toy Fair, but there you go. Again, they are going to be doing a Marvel Legends live stream tomorrow at 11 a.m., and we're going to talk a little bit more about that in just a few minutes. But we also got some news on the McFarlane toy front, update on the Transformer Haslab, which is now also fully funded. Had a pretty huge jump over the weekend, so we're going to talk a little bit about that, and just some other things as well. But before we get into today's news, and Salome is here joining us, of course. But before we get into that, let us just do a quick roll call. So we've got Gary is in the house, a new member. Good to see you, my friend. Thank you for becoming an action figure enthusiast member. We've got John in the house. What is up? Figure Fury. Good to see you, my friend. Austin is here as well. Happy Wednesday to you. We've got Zim is in the house, looking to get some Samurai Jack. Yes, Mezco's 112 Collective Samurai Jack has gone up for pre-order. You can get it now if you didn't already know that, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in just a moment. Pasanio, good afternoon to you. Elio, what is up? Alonzo, good to see you as well. It is news time. Road Pig John, what is up? Judge Dreads is in the house. We've got 360. Let's get it on. We've got Gary is in the house. Again, welcome. What is up? Everett is here. He's really excited. And we got some possible Daredevil news for you, Everett, so you'll probably be excited. John from Ireland is here as well. So, yeah, it looks like we got a pretty full house here. The Mass Figure Collector, good to see you, my friend. And Jerry is also here. Got back to stream my day off. Nice. Always good to have a day off. All right, so let us get into the news. So we started talking about Marvel Legends, so let's go there. So first of all, since I haven't talked to you guys since last week, let us first just update on that Spider-Man figure that seemed to cause so much controversy among collectors last week. The Maximum Spider-Man figure for $49.99 has sold out pretty much everywhere. Maybe GameStop still has some. I haven't checked in several days, but Amazon actually had a restock since it went up initially, but is once again sold out. Big Bad Toy Store, Entertainment Earth, Hasbro Pulse, all those places sold out within 48 hours of the figure going up for pre-order last week. So I actually, I told you last week that I thought people would buy it. I wasn't expecting it to sell out, but also, admittedly, I don't know how many of these figures were actually produced overall. So, that can play into it. It could have been a limited production run. Because it is a high-priced item and such. So, again, I'm not going to sit here and say, like, oh, my God, this is, like, the most popular Marvel Legend figure in the world because it's sold out. And I would expect, like we already seen with Amazon, that places will get more of these figures in stock before all is said and done. So if you weren't able to get one and you do want one, I wouldn't resort to secondary market prices at this point. I would just wait and see if somebody else gets it in stock. And again, this is a fan channel. Amazon, GameStop are the only big retailers that are carrying it online, but you're not going to see this at Walmart or Target, things like that. So it is, a fan channel exclusive, basically. As we've talked about before, Hulk should be the next figure in this line, and then Deadpool, I believe, will be the third figure based on listings that I've seen. But of course, neither Hulk or Deadpool have been confirmed by Hasbro, so those are rumors. Though maybe we'll get our next reveal tomorrow for the next Maximum figure, so we'll have to see. Now, speaking of tomorrow, could we see Daredevil Born Again figure. So I don't know. I will tell you that Hasbro Steve Evans on Instagram posted this logo. This, not the Daredevil. I photoshopped that, but just this Marvel Legends logo with the half of it white and half of it red, which is very similar to how the Daredevil Born Again Disney Plus series poster looks. And he had the caption of tomorrow's date, signifying something for tomorrow's live stream. So could he be teasing Deadpool Born Again Disney Plus figures? I would say it's highly likely because based again on rumors, listings I've seen, not confirmed by Hasbro, but almost definitely we should be getting some Daredevil Born Again Marvel Legend figures this year. Punisher and Daredevil, and then a third figure, which I have not seen the name for, but I'm thinking probably White Tiger, the guy in white that you see in the trailers. I'm thinking that's probably going to be the third figure, but that third figure is completely a guess. But Daredevil and Punisher, I think, are definitely good possibility. We will see at least tomorrow. All right, Salome's knocking things over. Kingpin, Daredevil. We just got Kingpin, a Disney Plus Kingpin, not too long ago, so I feel like that's not as likely to make this line. And again, as far as I can tell, we're only going to see like 3 figures from Daredevil, so don't expect like a whole wave of Daredevil figures. And of course, Hasbro did Daredevil and Punisher back during the Netflix run. Those figures are not very good. The articulation on those figures are pretty crappy. So even if you have those, these will probably be nice updates, updated outfits, but then also just updated articulation as well. So again, I can't say for sure, but being the Daredevil series is going to be airing here in just a few weeks. March, when is it? March 4th is when the first episode premieres on Disney Plus. So if it wasn't going to be revealed during tomorrow's live stream, I would imagine we would see them at Toy Fair, which will be on March 1st. So, but again, Steve Evans, his logo with the colors, I feel like that's what he's teasing here. So now I'm sure there'll be more than just those couple of figures. I doubt the whole live stream is going to be dedicated to just the Daredevil figures. So I would expect other things. I don't know what, but again, I think a good possibility that we will be seeing Daredevil Born Again figures. And only thing that makes me a little hesitant is, and remember in the past, Dan Yun saying they don't do MCU reveals during the live streams, but I think he was referring to movie figures, movie product. And I remember, I seem to recall in the past they have revealed Disney Plus waves during the live stream. So that's the only thing that would make me a little hesitant that they would be revealing Daredevil figures tomorrow. But again, I think that's a very strong possibility. Hot Toys has teased a new Red Hulk figure from the Brave New World Captain America movie. So no other details at this time, but again, they released this teaser image. So Red Hulk is coming to Hot Toys for you 1/6 collectors. And when more details become available, we'll be sure to let you guys know. One other thing I want to just bring your attention to. It was for you Magic the Gathering folks. It was announced there's going to be a Spider-Man crossover with Magic the Gathering here later this year. I think the full reveal is supposed to come during San Diego Comic-Con. Now, I don't do Magic the Gathering or trading card games, so it's not really my thing. But one thing I will note, kind of a tease, is for you Marvel Legend collectors, this might have, even if you're not into trading cards, this might have more relevance to you than you realize at this point. So that's kind of my little tease there for you. And from what I understand, they're starting with Spider-Man, and then we'll also be doing like X-Men and Avengers, like different sets. So I guess Spider-Man will be the first set. And I don't know if all the sets will be released in 2025 or how exactly that's going to work. But again, just saying, if you're a Marvel Legend collector, you might, even if you're not really into trading card games, you might want to, just keep your eye out on this and see how it develops. All right, let us move on. So we'll keep it with Hasbro. Let's jump over to Transformers. Why not? So first of all, these are kind of cool. I've never had these in hand. These blockies, these little miniature figures. They do it from various brands, but they're doing them for Transformers, including the Constructicons. So our first look at these. From overseas, I believe, the individual Constructicons, which will actually combine into Devastator. So we get the top half there. Also Inferno, Bumblebee, Starscream, Soundwave Gold Edition. I believe there's a regular version of Soundwave Wheeljack, White Optimus Prime or Ultra Magnus. So these are little miniature figures. I've never had them in hand or anything, but I've seen them, so I'm not an expert on these. But again, for you Transformer fans, those are coming. And places like Big Bad Toy Store, I believe, do carry the blocky stuff. I guess it's blockies, because I guess they're kind of blocky. Oh, and there's a G1 Megatron with throne and stuff as well. Which is a previews exclusive. So this will be available at comic book shops and stuff. Also comes with Laserbeak. So I don't, and their list is model kits, but I don't know the exact dimensions of these guys. So I don't know exactly how tall these guys are. What else do we have? Transformers Haslab. So this surprisingly got fully funded with the minimum goal of 10,000 over the weekend. And the reason why I say surprising, I was totally expecting this to reach its 10,000 goal before it ended. But like last week, I want to say Thursday or Friday of last week, when I looked, it hadn't quite gotten halfway there. It hadn't quite gotten to 5,000 backers. And then I think it was either Sunday or Monday, all of a sudden it was funded. And so it must have had a huge jump. I wasn't watching it every day, so I didn't watch it super closely. But I just know late last week I looked at it, hadn't even quite gotten halfway. And then over the weekend it ended up, all of a sudden it was funded. I'm guessing probably because of overseas, they added in overseas backers over the weekend. And I suspect this is probably going to be a hot seller for folks overseas, maybe even more so than those here in the United States. So I'm guessing that's probably what happened. But again, it has reached its minimum 10,000 goal. So if you decide to back this one, it will definitely be coming. Now we'll have to wait and see if it reaches the stretch goals. I think the 13,000 stretch goal for the Death Cobra is a given. The 16,000 for the electromagnetic nunchucks or nunchucks, whatever you want to call them. I think probably, and then 18,000 for the display stand, which I think is a good possibility as well. I mean, again, we've got over 33 days to go for this Haslab, and it has already reached its minimum funding goal. But again, just, like I say, it was a pretty kind of surprising jump because, you see those jumps towards the end, but not usually like, just on a random weekend. But like I say, with this one, with overseas backers, I think there's a good chance that's where those came from. Let's see, what else do we have? I guess since we last talked, the G.I. Joe Haslab that was supposed to happen this month was originally going to be happening on February 18th, got pushed, which obviously I'm sure you realize by now since the 18th is come and gone, and there was no G.I. Joe live stream. So it's now been pushed to March 18th, so next, essentially a month. When they announced the delay, as they put it, they gave this little teaser that said, looks like the Dreadnoks got their hands on our communications and tried to sabotage the mission. But G.I. Joe is always ready, so we're moving the G.I. Joe fan stream. But the thing here is, they sometimes like to do these little teases for things, and so I have no idea if this is the case, but a lot of people are jumping to the conclusion, whether rightly or not, we'll have to see, but that one of the things that might be revealed next month is a G.I. Joe Well, specifically Dreadnought Thunder Machine, the main vehicle for the Dreadnoughts. So we'll have to see if that ends up being the case, if that's what they're teasing here. I don't know. But again, what we do know is no fan stream for G.I. Joe until next month. However, again, Toy Fair is less than 2 weeks away. It is a week from this coming Saturday is when it begins, and that's when you'll get the Hasbro reveals late on Saturday. Saturday afternoon, evening is when you'll probably start seeing reveals for Hasbro stuff. And I have no clue how much new stuff they might have or what. But again, I am expecting some new reveals during Toy Fair from Hasbro, which again will be next, not this coming Saturday, but the following Saturday, March 1st. So we'll get those reveals before the fan stream now. And then we'll have the fan stream. So you've got a couple of times for G.I. Joe reveals, though, again, we are going to have to wait a little while. Let's see, what else? Prototype images have continued to leak out for G.I. Joe Classified. So these are from Jay Kahn, an overseas fellow who seems to get his hands on a lot of these factory leaks, whatever you want to call them. But kind of a new look at Blowtorch. So, again, for a prototype, that doesn't look too bad. Also keeping it with G.I. Joe 3.0 has a new 1/6 scale figure with the Baroness in her black outfit. This went up for pre-order. I think it was either early this week or last week. I kind of lose track. But cost is $169. You get multiple pairs of hands. You get a submachine gun, assault rifle, tactical knife, sheath, pistol, and holster. So if you've been collecting, these Fig Zero G.I. Joe 1/6 scale figures from 3.0, this is one you might want to check out. And it's supposed to be released later this year. It's at both Amazon, or it's at both Entertainment Earth and Big Bad Toy Store if you want to get it. I think that's about it on the Hasbro front. The one thing I do want to... Oh, here's another prototype that popped up online for what looks like the Crystal Ball figure. I have no idea why he's got this kind of demon mask thing on. I don't recall that being something part of the original figure, but I guess maybe it's an optical illusion. I think we got a peek at this. We saw a character with these kinds of horns standing in the background on the package of the Nemesis Enforcer. So, Crystal Ball was one of those kind of oddball characters from the original G.I. Joe line. So, again, I'll look at the prototype for that one. All right, one quick thing before we jump to other companies outside of Hasbro. Tomorrow, the 20th, besides the Hasbro fan stream, we also, Hasbro will be doing its fourth quarter and year-end stock report to Wall Street. It'll be happening early in the morning, and it's mostly, boring kind of stuff. I doubt, most of you guys will really care that much. One thing I wanted to point out. So one thing we might learn tomorrow, there's been a lot of rumblings that Hasbro might be, has been considering moving their headquarters out of Rhode Island to Boston. So it's possible if that were to happen, they might officially announce it tomorrow. I don't know if they will or not, but that would be interesting. I don't know if interesting is the right word, but that could be impactful for, Hasbro's future, how many employees are going to want to move to Boston, that type of thing. So like I say, I don't know if that's going to happen tomorrow, but I think if they were going to move to Boston, good chance they would announce it during the call tomorrow, the earnings call that they have tomorrow morning. But one thing I wanted to also point out here, so this is from Yahoo Finance. This is kind of what to expect. So, and this is again more for people who buy Hasbro stock and things like that, whether you want to consider buying more, selling, all that good jazz. But a couple of things that kind of stood out to me. Get past a lot of this stuff. Let's see. So one thing to note here, in the fourth quarter, it said licensing remains strong, a strong performer for Hasbro. So this is in regards to them licensing their brands out to other companies. A big one is Monopoly Go, which you probably have seen the commercials for on TV. It's like an electronic app game for Monopoly. So that's been a pretty strong performer for Hasbro. But then when I jump down here to the consumer product segment, it suggests that it remains under pressure due to weakness in action figures. One of the few times where I've seen action figures specifically called out, and particularly in regards to Star Wars. And reduce closeout sales, which essentially means the product that ends up going on clearance. So looks like we're going to see weak sales, which is not too surprising. And no, it's not just because overpricing or the Hasbro sucks. As much as people like to just focus in on that, I'm not saying that doesn't have any bearing, but again, Star Wars seems to definitely be kind of a drag. I think we'll probably see Hasbro continue to do Star Wars throughout this year and into next. But I would not be, well, I feel like they would probably try and keep Marvel. I have to wonder if they might be considering, not trying to renew the Star Wars license when it finally expires, which I think is at the end of 2026. So again, just saw that. We'll get more details on overall Hasbro and how they're doing and such tomorrow if you're interested in that kind of thing. But I just wanted to kind of point that out. Okay, let's get back in the news. So let's go to McFarlane. So we had a couple of new so remember the crowdsourcing thing they did for the DC Superpower stuff, the Aquaman ship and the Bat Multicraft, the Sea Saucer and the Multicraft. Well, now it is being offered at retailers like Big Bad Toy Store, Entertainment Earth for $24. The Multicraft is $34.99, and the Seacraft is $24.99. Now, the thing to note here is, unlike the crowdsourcing, it does not look like the figures are being included with the ships. And as of now, Big Bad Toy Store and Entertainment Earth have not listed the figures. I will tell you, though, Amazon Canada has the 3 figures that were originally included with the vehicles during the crowdsourcing, the Aquaman and then the Batman and Robin figures. They have those figures listed separately on Amazon Canada. I've not seen them listed on regular Amazon. I have not seen anyone here in the US list these figures, just the 2 vehicles. So I'm not sure what's going on with that. But again, just note, it looks like at some point the figures that were included originally with those crowdsourcing vehicles are going to be sold separately. And if you want the vehicles now, those are definitely available for pre-order. We talked about this figure last week. It's been hitting physical Target stores. This is the Fear Toxin Batman from Batman Begins. So we've got just the official image now. No word yet on when or if it'll be available online. I'm sure it will be at some point. But as of right now, it's just been showing up at physical Target stores. So it is a gold label figure. It is a Target store exclusive. So if you want this one right now, going into the store is the best chance of finding it. Though again, as I said, I would suspect it will be available at a later time online on Target's website. Going up for pre-order this week, tomorrow on the 20th at around 12 p.m. Eastern time will be the Batman Killing Joke cover Joker figure. So they showed this at the last McFarlane toy show. We talked about this the other week, but we now have the official date for when it's going up. Again, this one's being sold as an Amazon exclusive. So the first figure in this cover line was the Dark Knight Returns Batman that was done in black. So this one, again, you got the image of the cover in the background. It's like a stand and the figure, so you can pose it just like it was on the cover. So I think this one will be pretty popular. But again, it is a gold label, Amazon exclusive, and again, it's going up tomorrow. Should be around 12 p.m. Eastern time if you want to try and get your hands on it. I don't have any pricing information yet, but it's probably going to be. I forget what the price of that Superman figure was, but probably going to be similarly priced. The Big Bad Toy Store exclusive Batman Black Accent Year 2 figure. This is a repaint of that Target store exclusive in the black accents. So you still got the blue on the underside of the cape, but the outer side is now black as opposed to blue. You do have the swappable arms if you don't want it posed with the soft goods cape. Though if it's like the Target one, you'll want to be careful when you're switching out the arms because people had breakage with the Target one. I've never actually switched the arms out. I've just kept it in this one pose and I keep it on my shelf. But again, I know with the original Target one, people did have some breakage issues when they tried to swap out the arms. So again, this is still available at Big Bad Toy Store. It went up for pre-order last week. In part because Big Bad Toy Store has limited it to only 2 people, 2 per customer. I think if they didn't have that limit, it would have sold out much faster. But again, it is still available if you want to add that one to your collection. And again, it is a Big Bad Toy Store exclusive, and it's $49.99. Going up for pre-order on the 21st. These will be available everywhere, including Amazon, Big Bad Toy Store, Entertainment Earth. So that 89, that new updated 89 Batman figure with the soft goods cape. This is one that we saw during the first McFarlane toy show. So you can recreate that pose where he lifts his cape up to scare the criminals. You didn't have these little sticks in the movie, but for them to recreate the scene, that's how they've done it. You put these little sticks in the cape so you can hold it up like that. So we will again, this will be going up for pre-order on Thursday at 12 p.m. Eastern time, along with the Christian Bale Batman figure. The regular Christian Bale Batman figure will also be available. Again, both the 89 Batman and this one have been hitting physical Target stores, but these two are not Target store exclusives. And again, these will be available for pre-order tomorrow. Both figures, or not tomorrow, on Thursday at 12 p.m. Eastern time. So again, Amazon, Big Bad Toy Store, Entertainment Earth, all the good places will have these figures for you. One other quick thing I wanted to share with you. So Amazon has put up a bunch of these, probably mistakenly, listings for upcoming McFarlane products. You can actually add them to your cart. I haven't tried it, but I don't think these are supposed to be listed this time, and there are no images. So you can see in the titles, they just have abbreviations. So like this one, which is listed as costing $299.99, and I don't know if these prices are accurate. But if you want a little more details on what this actually is, you can see here it's some type of Superman movie item. I'm guessing this is if this price is accurate, I'm guessing this is going to be a statue. But again, that's been listed. We'll click on this one. $49.99. Come down here. This is listed as Batman animated Harley Quinn and Joker. So I don't know if this is like a DC Direct reissue or something else, but that's what it's listed at. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. This one, $99.99 is the price on this one. Come down here, Batmobile Justice League. So I'm assuming that this will be based on the Snyderverse Batmobile from the Justice League movie, which I guess does, as I've been informed, does differ a little bit from the Batman versus Superman version. I think primarily with the guns and such, but And Mattel did pretty cool versions of these. They did an RC one, which is huge. I feel like the RC one that Mattel did was a little oversized, but they also did a non RC one, which I think is more fitting in size to like 6-inch figures and stuff. But if you missed out on those, you might want to check, um, this one out. But it looks like we are going. Our next Batmobile from McFarlane is going to be a Justice League version. And whether there's multiple versions, like an Amazon exclusive, a McFarlane store exclusive, or what, I don't know. But looks like that might be coming for $100. A Mortal Kombat figure. I believe this is a glow in the dark Raiden figure, so I'm expecting it to be just the previous Raiden that they did, only now done as a glow in the dark figure. I don't think it's a new sculpt or anything, but the fact that they're, even though it's probably kind of a reissue type thing, the fact is they are still, obviously they still have the license because they're still releasing Mortal Kombat stuff. Whether they ever get around to releasing new stuff, I have no idea, but maybe we'll find out during Toy Fair. But again, that's coming, and that should be, I believe that's a gold label figure, so I believe that will be an Amazon exclusive. This one for $49.99, FTL. Come down here. Looks like it's going to be a Fallout TV Lucy, so something from the Fallout TV show. I don't know if it's a statue or what, but something for that. And finally, we have a Green Lantern bust of Hal Jordan, I believe is what this one was. Yeah, Hal Jordan bust for Green Lantern. So, and I think that's it. Actually, I want to check. Actually, there are two others listed on Amazon. So this one, BSOBSJ, but if we go down here, this is Batman Black Suit and Son of Batman and Superman and Joker. So it sounds like some type of box set. And then this one, a Cyborg and Darkseid. So I don't know if that's comic, Justice League, something else completely. I don't know. But again, so like I say, I don't know. Amazon seems like they just kind of screwed up and they have these up on their website, but gives us kind of a peek of what's coming from McFarlane Toys in the somewhat, I'm going to say, somewhat near future. And all these things, again, if these are accurate, are not due out until like August or September of this year. So these are like summer release items, it looks like. Okay, let's see. Let's move on. Let's keep moving on. Do we have any Masters of the Universe? Not really. The Mondo Evelyn has gone up for pre-order. I believe we talked about that last week, so nothing really new there. Let's jump over to the NECA. Some stuff that's been previously available has gone up for pre-order at other retailers. So the Last Ronin Ghost Brothers 3-pack, the Translucent Turtles, and the Leatherhead, the Mirage Comics Leatherhead. You can now get these at Big Bad Toy Store. Entertainment Earth has not yet listed these, but likely will at some point. Entertainment Earth has really kind of been slow. In fact, here's a good example of that. All these figures went up for pre-order like last week at Big Bad Toy Store. The Toonie Terror Silver Edition, the Hammer Films Dracula, the Planet of the Apes Gorilla Soldier, the Last Ronin Casey, and just yesterday they went up for pre-order at Entertainment Earth. So And all of those had been previously available, I think, on the NECA store, if I'm not mistaken. So that's it for your NECA news. Already talked about G.I. Joe. For you wrestling fans, so the Hardy Boys, Broken Matt Hardy and Brother Nero, Matt and Jeff Hardy, more recent versions of them are going to be offered as a 2-pack in the Jazzwares Ring of Honor line. That'll be available exclusively on the Jazzwares Vault website starting on February 26th at 12 p.m. So if you're a Hardy Boys fan, which I believe they're going to actually be showing up at NXT next week. Is it next week? Yeah, next week. I believe these guys are going to be showing up. So for WWE, so that might be interesting. But again, if you want action figures of them, Jazzwares got you covered. Again, will be offered as a Jazzware Vault exclusive. I would expect these guys are popular enough. It's only limited to 3,000, so I would say pretty good chance this set will end up selling out. Tony Storm was available at Shop AEW. I don't follow AEW that much, so I am not that familiar with this character, or this wrestler, I should say. But $50. I don't know if it's still available. It went up the other day. Let me check for you. No, it is out of stock, so that one is already sold out. So disregard that. That was limited to 2,000 pieces. And I think we talked about these last week, so I don't think WWE wise there's anything new there. So Mezco Samurai Jack, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, this has gone up for pre-order. You get multiple heads. We saw this on display at several of the recent conventions. 112 collective figure, multiple hands, multiple hair pieces, his sword, a bow and arrow, battle damage head, little portal thing, hat and blindfold, his mystic katana. So if you're a Samurai Jack fan, it's been a while since I've watched this cartoon. It was on Cartoon Network. Samuel L. Jackson, if I remember correctly, voiced the character. Pretty good. It was pretty good, I remember. But again, available for pre-order. Entertainment Earth Big Bad Toy Store, cost is $95. You can get free shipping at Entertainment Earth on this one. But again, available for pre-order now. That's pretty much it on the Mezco front for new. And I feel like this is going to be pretty popular. I feel like this one is going to sell pretty well. So, well, I don't know if it'll sell out, but I'm pretty sure it's still available. I don't think it's sold out yet. Yeah, it's still available. But I do feel like this is going to be a pretty popular one if you're collecting Mezco 112 collective stuff or just a Samurai Jack fan in general. Because really, I don't think there's too many Samurai Jack products, especially action figures, if any. Honestly, I don't know if anyone ever did Samurai Jack figures. I don't recall them off the top of my head if they did. So I feel like that one's got a good chance of being pretty popular. Mondo, if you're into Adventure Time, which I'm not, but some of you younger folks might be into this. Mondo is doing a set, a limited edition set for $145. We'll be going, I guess it's available now. I guess it went up today. But it's actually, did it sell out? Really? Damn. Yeah, I guess it sold out. So that sold out quick. I mean, it was a limited edition, only limited to 1,000 pieces, so it wasn't like a ton. But I guess there are more Adventure Time fans out there than I suspected. So definitely well after my time. Nothing I've ever watched before. I mean, I'm aware of it, but I've never watched it or anything. So, but I imagine there'll be a regular version offered through places like Big Bad Toy Store and Entertainment Earth at some point, but I don't have any details on that at this time. I think we talked about this last week, but if not, the Mondo Row Ghostbusters Egon and Boogeyman 2-pack, $200, $100 per figure, has been up on the Mondo website. Available. You got till March 13th to pre-order this. They'll sell these at least Egon separately at other retailers for $100. But honestly, I've said this before. I mean, I'm not a big enough fan of Real Ghostbusters to buy these myself. But if I was gonna get these, I'd get the 2-packs. I'd get the Ghosts because I mean, I saw these at, I think it was what, San Diego Comic Con when we first saw these, and to me, the Ghosts, the monster Ghosts, they were really kind of cooler than the figure. So I know they're expensive. I mean, $200, $100 a piece, basically. But like I said, if I'm going to spend that money, I'd get both the Ghost and the Ghostbusters. Let's see. Storm Collectibles is teasing more Street Fighter Alpha figures for their Storm Arena line. So these are the cheap down figures, $26.99. So we can see Ryu, Ken, and Saiget are being teased, and then I don't know, was this Chun-Li, Cammy maybe, and then I forget who this is. You guys probably know better than I do. Charlie, I guess. Ken, Ryu, Saget, Dan, Chun-Li, and Charlie, I guess is who these are. I don't know. That's definitely Chun-Li. I almost felt like that was Cammy, but maybe not. But anyway, so, again, I think this is Storm Collectibles' answer to Jada Toys. If you don't want to spend the higher prices for the nicer Storm Collectible figures, then you can get these. I think the only one that's gone up for pre-order so far is the Ken figure, which you can get at Big Bad Toy Store. But I don't think any of the others have gone up yet. Ryo will probably be next. Oh, also, I don't know how many of you guys collect Hot Toys, but this vehicle that they solicited back in November, the Bat Missile from the Batman Returns movie, where the Batmobile lost the side pieces to go down the alley, which I thought was kind of an odd thing for them to do as a vehicle, but there you go. But I guess they did not get enough orders because they have canceled this item. Due to unforeseen market factors, we have had to cancel the following project. So I'm going to assume it's because they didn't get enough orders for it to move forward. Last time I checked, places like Big Bad Toy Store had this up for pre-order. I don't know if they've pulled it yet. But if you did pre-order it, you should get a notice, if you haven't already, saying it's been canceled. If somebody already charged you for it, then they should refund you for it. But again, it does not look like this Bat Missile is going to be moving forward. I think that's about it. Let me just double check. A new Terminator 2, also from Hot Toys, Terminator 2 Judgment Day 2.0 Arnold figure. So $305 for this one. Comes with all the good stuff you would expect from Hot Toys, including a bloodied metal hand without the skin around it, all of his signature weapons from the movie, the rose box that he hid the shotgun when he was in the mall, Looks like Arnold. Looks like young Arnold at least. Has even the head with the removable piece of hair. So another Hot Toys one for your collection if you're into Terminator. $305 for that one. So Collider revealed these. These are going up for pre-order Thursday at midnight Eastern time as part of the next round of Diamond Select Toy solicitations. So new versions of Lord of the Rings, Aragorn and Galadriel from Lord of the Rings. So these are 7-inch figures. Again, these are going up for pre-order technically Friday, but they go up at midnight Thursday night Eastern time. Well, Friday morning Eastern time, I guess more appropriately said. But Thursday night, when the clock hits 12 midnight, you can expect these to be available for pre-order at places like Big Bad Toy Store, Entertainment Earth. So if you're on the East Coast, technically they go up on Friday, or they go up on Friday. If you're on the West Coast, they go up Thursday night at 9 o'clock. Super 7 has another blind box reaction Sesame Street set with a variant version of Oscar. They don't show us the variant version, so the other figures all had single releases. But again, there's some variant version. I want to say Oscar originally was a different color than green. I'm going to Google it now because I can't remember. If my wife was here, she could tell you 100 easily, but yeah, he was orange. Okay, so my guess is it's an orange Oscar. But again, they don't actually show the variant figure. But again, this is being sold as a blind box, so you can get it at Big Bad Toy Store. And last time I checked, it wasn't yet available on Entertainment Earth. $180 for the box, which comes with 12 different reaction figures from the wave. So if you get the whole box, I'm sure you'll get at least one of the variants. That's not good. See, apparently the site's gone down while I'm talking to you guys. So we'll get that fixed. So it'll be back up in a minute. But anyway, good news is we've gone over all the news. So that's all I have for you today. So good timing, at least on that front. Let's do a quick. Let me scan through your guys' comments, see what you guys are saying. Judge Shred's watching the Super Friends. Looks great, but nuts the price of Spidey. Yeah. I mean, it was definitely a high price, but we hashed that out pretty good last week. But for anyone who didn't think that figure wasn't going to sell at all, you either don't have a very good understanding of the hobby, or you don't have a good understanding of the hobby. However, I'm going to have the Charlie Cox suit with Ben Affleck Billy Club. Judge Dredd's got Spider-Man already. I did not get Spider-Man, so as I said, I wasn't planning on getting Spider-Man, and I held to that. I did not get one. For me personally, it's a good figure. Great accessories, but for me, accessories is not a big seller. So I did not get that one. I am definitely interested to see the Hulk figure, get a good look at the Hulk figure, which I'm hoping either gets revealed tomorrow or maybe a toy fair. So that one I'm looking forward to. And yes, again, I don't know the price on it, but I would expect it to be more than Spider-Man. My best guess is $65. If you want a range, I'm going to say 65 to 70, but I'm going with 65 is my guess on the price for that one. And if it looks good, if all the head sculpts look really good and everything, and they really, it's got updated articulation and stuff, then I may very well get the Hulk one. How pathetic all the hand wringing from fans as it sells. Well, the internet, especially social media, is basically geared for people complaining. It's just the way it is. So it does not matter. It could have been $45 and people still would have complained. It could have been $40 and people still would have complained. It's just the nature of the internet. But that's why I say you got to pay attention. And as I said before, since I don't know what the initial run, I don't know how many, I don't know, have exact numbers on how many each store had. I don't think it was like the super hot, just like everybody ran in and bought it. But I feel like it was hot enough, with a limited run is why it sold out. But I also, again, like I say, I think there's probably a pretty good chance at least some places will get more in at some later time. So I wouldn't panic too much if you didn't get one. Judge Dredd, again, I don't know the price of Hulk. I think 80 is too high. I think 70 maybe, but I'm really, like I said, 65 is my guess. And the reason why I say that is because, yes, Hulk's a bigger figure. It does have, I think, a few less accessories than Spider-Man. So I'm adding the extra, $15 for it being a bigger size figure, and maybe $20. But I'm going with extra 15 for it just being a larger size figure. We covered that, but if you somehow missed it, it got pushed to next month, March 18th. Maurice is here. Good to see you, friend. Good time zone to you. Cartoons and Cannabis. Good to see you, my friend. Would be cool to see a comic Daredevil in a single pack. I mean, I'm sure at some point down the road we'll get a new Daredevil figure, but next Daredevil, I believe, will be based on the new series, which, I think, like I said, if you had the Netflix one, I mean, if I remember correctly, the leg broke on mine. I had to glue it back on, but just the articulation was not very good. Same thing with the Punisher. That Punisher Netflix figure was not very good. So both of those figures are ones, and I believe, the suits have changed a little bit, so there's that too. But even if they were the exact same outfits as that they wore in the Netflix series, both those figures definitely could use an update. Technodrome, everyone complains about prices, but then they still buy the figure, and then the company just continues. Well, prices will always raise on these things. That's just the way it is. Since the beginning of consumer products, prices only go up. They don't generally go down. Again, social media, people are always going to complain, and some of those people who complained probably didn't buy it. I mean, let's be fair. It's not like everyone, I'm sure there were some people who complained and then went out and bought it anyway. But just because, there are plenty of people who didn't complain, and those are probably primarily the ones who bought it. people who did complain, some probably bought it, but others probably didn't. And there's always also, and I hate this, but it's just a reality. But like when it starts selling out, then you start feeling this extra pressure, like, oh, damn, shit, it's going to sell out. I better get it. I can cancel it later if I don't decide I don't want it, but I better go on it. So you get that little added pressure sometimes, where if you thought it was just going to be readily available, you wouldn't worry about it. You come back later if you decide to get it, but there's always that little extra pressure too. But Netflix Jennifer Jones figure, um, yeah, though I added the scarf from what was it, um, the Star Wars Rogue One figure, which actually, you know, that was like the little final missing touch. The Luke Cage one I thought was pretty good as well. Well, this is social media where everyone pretends to be things that are not. There's that too. But if you think about it, what you spend on lunch, which is gone after you eat $25 for a figure, that's the forever. Yeah, I mean, as we said last week, if you've got the money and it brings you joy, then who cares what someone else thinks? Like one thing I always get flabbergasted is when I see somebody come on like a Facebook group and they're like, should I buy this? Like they're asking people if they should buy the figure. It's like, you should answer that yourself. And frankly, if you're asking other people, then probably you shouldn't buy it. But, you know, I see that happen more often than not, where somebody will come on and say, should I buy this figure? Jeremy, hey, did I miss anything? Probably, but what's up, Felix? Jay, do I think the Constructicons are overpriced for 89 for the set of two? Again, I'm not one to break down costs per price. I pre-ordered those. I'm looking forward to having all those Constructicons, so it was worth it to me to spend the money. Um, from what I've seen from the prototypes that have been on display at like MegaCon, Devastator looks awesome. It's supposed to be very, tight fitting. So, for the first time, having a Devastator that if you look at it wrong doesn't fall apart will be really nice. So, to me, it was worth the money because that is something I did pre-order. Let's see what else you guys saying. Does anyone remember the Spider-Man 2 game figures that came out a couple years ago? It was 36 or so and had a bit less than the Maxi Spider. Who knows? They can sell certain characters for higher. You guys are bickering with each other. Now, keep in mind, I don't think anything's going up for pre-order tomorrow. For Marvel Legends, like it's going to be one of those where we get some reveals, but I don't think anything. In fact, I don't think unless it's like a store exclusive, I don't think anything is going up for pre-order this week for Marvel Legends. Um, if you peek over to the Entertainment Earth drop zone, pre-order drop zone page, and sometimes they don't, sometimes they'll add something in, last minute. So, we always kind of have to keep an eye on it. But right now, the next Hasbro pre-orders aren't until February 25th. There's a couple of them, so at least one of these could be Marvel Legend related. Um, and it's hard to tell from these clues. If you missed it once, don't miss it again. Another second chance at a great toy waits. So that sounds like some type of reissue. And then something new, a real classic, all of the above. We can't say, but we'll figure. You can sign up for a. So again, I'm not sure, but one of those at least could be Marvel Legends. And then there's another Marvel Legend pre-order on Thursday, the 27th, which Thursday does seem to be a popular day for Marvel Legends. So this one definitely, I think, might be a Marvel Legend pre-order. Anyone call for a new product launch. So there you go. We don't have any more right now, at least listed on the page. We don't have any other March or Toy Fair reveal or Hasbro pre-orders until after Toy Fair on March 4th. So, but I'm guessing at least one of these three pre-orders listed for February will be something Marvel Legend related. There's also the Target exclusive as far as like stuff that Hasbro has recently announced. The only thing that has not yet gone up for pre-order, well, there's two things. There's the 77 Spider-Man Walmart exclusive, which Danion has said will be out next month for pre-order in March, which likely will be during the CollectorCon event, as we've talked about before. But then also the X Factor Target exclusive has not gone up for pre-order. They've yet to give us a date on this one. So it's possible this could go up either this week or next week. Danion has not given any kind of teases for that. So I don't know. But that's, other than the 77 Spider-Man, this is the only figure that Hasbro's revealed in their recent live streams that has not yet been made available for pre-order. Everything else that they announced in their last two live streams has already gone up for pre-order. So we've kind of gone through their latest reveals, which I guess is why they've got the live stream coming up tomorrow. Now, if we jump to our rumors list, other possibilities could be the next wave of X-Men 97 figures. And I've seen some conflicting info. I'm pretty sure there's two different waves of X-Men 97 coming out this year. So originally I thought this was the next wave, but this possibly could be the wave coming out later in the year. Or I don't know. And I don't have any specifics on what figures will be in the other wave. So all I know is there definitely be two waves, and one of the waves should have these guys: Morph, Jubilee, Emma Frost, Cable, Robert DaCosta, and Logan, Wolverine in civilian clothes. So we'll have to see. These all have gone up for pre-order. The Spider-Man ones have gone up for pre-order. Some Gamerverse figures for the PS5 Spider-Man 2 game should be coming this year, so it's possible we could see something for that. Other rumors from displaying model behavior include some additional X or reissues. The Marvel versus Capcom figures, maybe. Iron Man wave. This is something I've seen no information on. This Iron Man wave that displaying model behavior told us about last year. So though, some of those are possible for reveals tomorrow, along with what I think is probably going to be the couple of Daredevil figures, but that we'll just have to kind of wait and see. I feel Daredevil will be heavy tomorrow. When you mean by heavy, like again, don't it's not an entire wave. It's just a couple of figures, three at most, I believe. They may only show two at this time. I don't know. I mean, we've seen it. If I'm right on the third one, it's White Tiger. I mean, we've seen it in the trailer, so they might show that. I don't know, but definitely, I think good chance we'll see Daredevil and Punisher. Jerry says, "Hope they make Poe, Dameron, and Tauntauns first before they fold." And I don't, as far as the Star Wars, I'm not saying that Star Wars is ending anytime soon. I'm just saying Star Wars sales, action figure sales seem to be down for Hasbro. I don't think that's surprising. A number of the Disney Plus shows have not connected as well as I'm sure they were hoping they would. There's mixed reactions to those, but it's been a long time since we've had a Star Wars movie. So Hasbro's just kind of down to reissuing the same types of figures over and over again. And while clones are popular, Mandalorians are popular, I think you just get to a point where you can only do so many before people kind of start to get burned out. Figure Fury, McFarlane superpowers have been the most frustrating thing to collect. I feel like it's gotten easier. I mean, when it was a completely Walmart exclusive line, it definitely was harder. I'm not saying it's, and you get these kind of chase figures and stuff, but I feel like it has gotten easier, not harder, as time has gone on. Now, I don't personally collect it, so I'm only kind of speaking as someone watching on the outside in, but Felix, all these GameStops closing isn't helping either. Apparently, the CEO went on a rant. Uh, I'm not going to go into the details because it gets political, but something about trying to sell off their Canadian stores and some other group of stores in some other part of the world. So I don't know. I will be 100% honest with you. I'm amazed that GameStop is even still around today. And I know some of that had to do with all the stock BS a year or so ago, which there's actually a movie about on Netflix if you haven't seen that. But but I'm amazed that GameStop even still is around today. The Watcher. I don't care what anyone says. The truth is the stuff. Well, I mean, I agree with you. It's expensive, but it's action figures are not like groceries. You know, they are essentially, especially as they're geared towards the adult collector, not young kids that much anymore. You know, your way of getting cheaper figures is making them cheaper, which is what you generally see with the kids oriented stuff. It's made much more cheaply, even though that stuff even has gotten more expensive. But and yes, as the stuff gets more expensive, your consumer market shrinks, but the offset is, as I've said before, you're getting stuff that you would have never gotten 10, 20 years ago. Um, but anyone expecting like action figures to drop in any real way and keep the same quality and keep the same accessories, I think you're just setting yourself up for disappointment. I just don't think it's going to happen. If it gets to a point where the hobbies become too expensive for you, you know, moving on, I think is perfectly a reasonable response. But this idea that I see some people seem to have that, like, if they complain loud enough on the internet, that's going to cause a change. It's not realistic. And as the smaller companies, one of the things we've talked about before is, one of the things, again, that we do see Hasbro doing is they license their stuff out to other smaller toy companies. They're making their stuff in much smaller production runs. They don't get as good at discounts at the factories, so then the prices go up even more. So, you know, it's not even like, well, if Hasbro just quit making them and someone else made them, they'd be cheaper. That's not likely to happen either. And I also will say, the days of kids playing with action figures, I feel like some people like are under this delusion that like one day kids are going to return to playing with action figures, and I don't think's ever going to happen. I'm not saying you shouldn't make anything for young kids, but I'm saying I've been covering this stuff for 25 years, and that demographic has steadily been shrinking ever since I've been covering this industry, and I don't think that's ever going to turn around. And there's a lot of different factors for that. The biggest being that kids, a parent is much more likely going to hand their kid an electronic device, their phone with games or whatever, than go out and buy them an action figure. Certainly, prices don't help that. Same thing with the comic industry. The days where people went to the corner and bought a 25-cent comic are never going to come back. It is a much smaller demographic now, consumer demographic. But again, anyone thinking that like prices for any of these things are going to return to lows of the bygone days, you're just deluding yourself. And that's not to say I don't understand the frustration of the higher prices. I'm there with you. There are things that I have passed on because the price is high. If they were cheaper, I would have probably gotten them. Now, if it's something I really want, I'll still buy it. But I definitely, as prices go up, I become more selective. I don't just as easily buy something. If it's a character that I've gotten 20 times before and it's expensive, even if it's a little bit better, I'm probably not going to buy it again. But so I understand the frustration, but again, there has to be a point of reality that has to set in, and realizing that prices on these things are not going. We're never going to see $15-$20 Marvel Legends. I don't think, even if someone else took over the license, I don't think the quality would either go down significantly or whatever. But those days I don't think are ever going to return. If a smaller company gets it, then almost definitely the price is going to go up, not down. So I just think that's the reality. The judge says Samurai Jack is cool, but don't collect cartoony figs. The Storm Arena did reveal the and tease. Now they're an overseas company, but that is a rare example where you're seeing something provided cheaper. You're getting less than the more expensive figures, but it is still that's a very nice price. And Jada Toys has managed to keep their figures fairly low in price based on competing action figure lines. The thing about Jada Toys is super slow. It takes forever for them to get a product out. They're not as widely available. I know some stores have carried them, but I have never seen a Jada Toy Street Fighter figure on the shelf of a Target or Walmart. Now, again, my Targets and Walmarts notoriously suck, and I have seen pictures of other people who have found them at Targets and Walmarts, but still, the chances of finding a Jada Toy Street Fighter are much less than, say, finding a Marvel Legend figure or something else like that. Now, the good side is, you can easily pre-order them from places online, so they're not really that difficult to get. But again, they're limited. They have more limited releases. Jada is super slow. we might get all the core Street Fighter 2 characters, by the time I'm 100 years old. I mean, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but they are you get one or two figures a year, it seems like, with Jada. So, there are definitely trade-offs. And even with those, as time goes on, those will likely get more expensive, not cheap. Jerry, I'm a big Ghostbuster fan. I won't be buying those. I'm content with the Diamond Select figures. But look at and I don't think the Diamond Select toy figures were made that great. And I never had their real Ghostbuster ones, but I remember getting a couple of their regular Ghostbuster figures when they first launched that line, and the quality of those was not very good. I don't know if they improved over time, but I just know in those first couple of ones that I gotten, the quality was very iffy. But look at those real Ghostbuster figures, the Diamond Select toys. If you try and go to the secondary market now and buy those, they are hugely expensive. Um, Probably even more expensive than what the Mondo figures are. So, I mean, if you were lucky and you got those originally when they came out and they're still in good condition, they didn't break on you and stuff, that's great. But I mean, like I say, if you try and go and buy those on the secondary market now, I believe you're going to find you're paying even more money for those. And while I have not had the Mondo figures in hand, so I won't say this with 100% certainty, I feel like the chances are pretty good that those Mondo figures will be better than the Diamond Select toy ones. Steven, Diamond Select Toys still hasn't released their Marvel Select Annihilator, so I'm skeptical if we will ever release that is true. Um, Diamond Distributors, which owns Diamond Select Toys, is going through a bankruptcy right now. Um, you know, so there's always that possibility that something that is solicited by Diamond Select Toys won't end up getting released. I mean, you're not going to get ripped off, especially if you're buying that stuff through a reputable retailer like a Big Bad Toy Store or such. If they get canceled, you'll get your refund. But yes, that Diamond Select Toys is very much, you know because of their parent company is very much probably not in great shape. Um, Hopefully those figures will get out. Some of those Marvel Selects, which are really cool. Hopefully those will end up getting released, but it could take a while. Graham, they have not. In fact, I know some places have gotten the Bert and Ernie in stock. I'm still waiting on mine to come in stock at Big Bad Toy Store. I don't know what the delay is, but I have not gotten my Bert and Ernie yet. But no, they have not. The last figure they revealed and available for pre-order is the Count, and I'm going to guess we'll see Oscar at Toy Fair, but I don't know that for sure. But no, they have not shown it. I thought they were going to show it at New York Comic Con. I was a little surprised they did not show it at New York Comic Con. But well, Street Humans was a Kickstarter which did not get funded. I don't know if Shartimus will ever try again or just decided to move on. If the Hulk is an old buck, it's a pass. I haven't, I can't tell you for certainty it's new, but since Spider Man was new, I'm going to guess Hulk will have a new mold as well, but I can't say that with certainty. Yes, if it was just a reissue of another Hulk with some added accessories, that I would probably pass. FYI, the Fresh Monkey Fiction Christmas Children did not fund. No, y'all really wanted. Now that does kind of suck they didn't fund, but I feel like some of those holiday figures are hits or misses. Like I know at one point they talked about doing like Easter figures or like the Easter Bunny, and spreading out and doing other holidays, which I think would be a good idea. But I don't know. They struggled the first time around when they did the Halloween one. So there are so many Kickstarters that you see come and go, and I'm frankly amazed with some of those and them getting funded. And those often aren't cheap either. And they're very, I'm not saying generic as in like bad, but they're just generic characters. They're, somebody made up their own thing, which I think is cool. But at the same time, you know, some of those Kickstarters, I'm amazed they get funded. And again, I don't mean that to say because they suck. I'm just saying because there's so many Kickstarters, and oftentimes the figures are very expensive, that there's just so much out there for people to choose from. I'm often surprised that a lot of them end up getting funded. Hanzo, if the Hulk can't put his hands together to do a thunderclap, it'll be a big miss. Well, being that one of the accessories is actually a thunderclap, like attachments to like make the wind, like when he's clapping his hands, I'm pretty sure the Hulk will be able to clap his hands. So I think that's probably a good bet. William Huston looks like Max Hulk will have to compete with Mafex. Interesting. I haven't seen Mafex. Mezco's doing a 112 collective Hulk. They teased that. Virtual Dave. I did not. I was going to go see it on Saturday with my wife, but then my wife wasn't feeling well, so we decided to hold off. So I have not yet seen Captain America: Brave New World. Um, I don't know if I'll go this weekend or not. If I don't go this weekend, the following weekend I'm going to be at Toy Fair, so I may at that point may just wait until it comes out on home release. Um, but I had intended to go this past Saturday. Just like I said, my wife wasn't feeling well, so we held off on going. Um, I was having a conversation with somebody on Facebook about like movies, and so like Captain America: Brave New World got hammered in the reviews by the professional reviewers, which probably didn't help it. But then like like on Rotten Tomatoes, the actual people that went to see it, it started getting good reviews. People that I've seen, that I see on my own personal social media that have seen it, have said pretty positive things about it. I've maybe seen one person who said it was horrible, but most everyone else I've seen, not perfect, but pretty good movie. But like having this conversation about like box office takes. So I think globally over the 4-day President's Day weekend, it made like 182,000. So I think that puts it in. It's definitely the highest grossing movie for this year so far. Not that that's saying a lot since we're only in February, but fourth highest President's Day. It's in the top 4 of President's Day weekend opening movies. The other 3 are all Marvel movies as well. All were pre-COVID movies except for Ant-Man. But to me, Ant-Man was kind of a unique thing. Ant-Man ended up doing pretty badly. It got hammered by everybody, including professional reviewers and many of the people who went to see it. But Ant-Man had a strong start because everybody at the time, it was the real main introduction to what at the time was going to be the next Thanos bad guy with Kang. That's kind of changed since then, but I think that movie had a lot of hype. But then, like I say, people just didn't like it. Captain America is the opposite. It started out with bad reviews, but then when people started to go see it, they seemed to actually like it. I don't know how it's going to do overall. I think it's right now up there as like the third highest box office Captain America movie. So I think Civil War and Winter Soldier, which in my opinion are two of the best all around MCU movies, not just Captain America, but out of all the MCU movies, both Captain America Winter Soldier and Captain America Civil War are two of the best. Captain America First Avenger, which was the first Cap movie, I think this one has done better so far. But the thing to note, like, I don't take box office takes very seriously at all because a lot of people just, in my view, don't go to the movie theater anymore. Ever since COVID, when people stopped going to the theater, people realized, you know what, I'll just wait a few weeks. I can watch it at home. I've got a great setup in my house, comfortable. I don't have to deal with all the BS that you have to deal with when you go out to the theater. And so I'm just going to wait a few weeks and watch the movie at home. So I feel like, that's, COVID was the trigger, but I think people just kind of realized at that point, I don't really need to go to the theater to watch these movies anymore. And like, I don't feel like I have to rush. I don't care what the movie is. There are very few movies anymore where I feel like I've got to rush out on opening day to see the movie. I can wait, to whenever. And Captain America is 100%. I think it's probably a decent movie. I don't know how I would end up ranking it among the Captain America movies, but I'm not worried about going to see it and thinking, oh my God, this movie sucks. But at the same time, I'm also, if I can work it into my schedule and I can get, and I feel like getting out of the house, we'll go see it in the theater. But if not, I'm fine waiting a month or so and watching it on, home release. I probably would rent it, pay to rent it before, it'll come out to rent and then it'll eventually come out on Disney Plus. So I probably would rent it, not wait for Disney Plus. But I don't have a problem waiting for it to come out on home release. But again, it's not because I think the movie is necessarily going to suck. It's just I don't feel a need to go to the movie theater. And I think a lot of people think that way these days. So I don't think, the days of having these huge mega blockbusters, I'm not saying there won't be something. I think Deadpool Wolverine was kind of a rare exception. Maybe the Avengers, Secret Wars movie that might do it depending on the buildup. I don't think Fantastic Four is going to do gangbusters. And that's not to say I think it's going to be a bad movie, but I think it's going to be, again, where people are like just fine waiting for it to come out on home release. We'll see, but I don't expect like, Fantastic Four to be this huge blockbuster mega movie. And I just think, like I say, using box office takes as the judge of whether a movie is good or not, or well received or not, I think it's just kind of an outdated method, since I just think a lot of people just wait for it to come out on home release. But to answer the original question, I have not seen it yet. Again, I might go see it next Saturday. But if not, I'll definitely watch it when it comes out on home release. The Ruckus. If the rumors are true about Hulk, hopefully Maximum means forward butterfly joints. Even Harrison Ford was able to perform the Thunderclap. Yeah, again, I think almost definitely it will have butterfly joints so he can clap his hands. Because like I say, I have not seen an up-close image of the figure to dissect it, but I've seen enough to know that like accessories include, wind clapping effects that you can put on his hands, so it looks like he's clapping his hands, and you get that wind effect. So I don't think they would include that if he couldn't actually put his hands together. Frank Castle lives. Cool. Yeah, he's been in the trailers. If you watched any of the Daredevil Disney Plus trailers, he's shown up a couple of different times. In fact, in the most recent, not full trailer, but TV spot, video clip, whatever you want to call it, you get kind of a look at his chest there. Prices will never go down, according to Felix, because adults buy it once they figured out who's buying it. The prices went accordingly. I agree with you, but I also would add to that the quality went up accordingly as well, because toys that were made for kids, you would, if Hasbro was still making stuff for kids, you probably wouldn't see half the things that you see behind me here ever get made. Okay, so that, again, you're right. Prices go up because adults are buying it. Most people who collect these things have a lot of disposable income, or they should. And, I've said this before. If you're choosing between buying your groceries or buying an action figure, you probably should save up for your groceries. But if you've got the disposable income to spend, and this is something that brings you happiness, then you should feel free to buy it. And it's pretty much that simple. But again, prices go up, but you also, like I said, you get these things that, you know, back in the day when Hasbro was basically making stuff for the kids, even companies like Toy Biz, which, was a company that I think, was one of the first companies that started making toys for both kids and adults. A lot of things you see back here you would have never gotten from them. So that's one of the big differences. And that's something I think people have to keep in mind. High prices suck. Nobody likes spending a lot of money, but you're getting things you just never would have gotten if these companies were still basically just making the stuff for kids. Cheaper, maybe, but not not the cool things that we're getting. What's up, Road Pig? Thought I said hi to you earlier in the live stream. I hope Diamond Select is able to release all the announced figures. There are several I really want them to make. I mean, I certainly think good possibility. I think you'll see delays, but right now Diamond seems to be chugging. So anything's possible, and certainly, again, when a company is going through a bankruptcy, or the parent company is going through a bankruptcy, that can cause a lot of turmoil. But I don't want people to think, oh my God, Diamond Select stuff's never going to come out, because right now there's no indication of that. Something just fell back there. My arcade Sentinel figures. These things. I like these figures. They're great on the video game, but I do wish Hasbro had given us a little better ankle articulation on these guys, because they do fall over pretty easily. William, so many prototypes from Fresh. Well, again, small company has to kind of live on the pre-order system. So anytime they show something, it's going to probably be at least a year away for release, which can be frustrating. But again, that's just one of the setbacks that you have to deal with when you're dealing with a small company. Jason Electra, after waiting for D13 toys over 2 years, I won't do a Kickstarter again. I always, again, this is in no way indicating that somebody's going to rip you off if you do a Kickstarter, but I always just feel safer. Like Big Bad Toy Store often will eventually, if it's a Kickstarter that seems to be going decently, Big Bad Toy Store will usually end up, offering the products, assuming it reaches its funding goal. If it doesn't, it gets canceled. But whether it's a overseas company or a company where its reputation maybe isn't the greatest or what, I just think you're always, some people are perfectly willing to take the risk, and that's fine if, but I think, it's always safer to go through a reputable toy retailer so that if something happens and it doesn't get made for whatever reason, you're less likely to get ripped off, as in losing your money. You'll get your refund without hassle or what have you. Judge Shaw, that's why I don't care what people on YouTube say. Well, I'm on YouTube, so you better listen to me. No, I'm just kidding. But I will, to tout my own horn, what you don't see, I'm perfectly willing to share my thoughts about these things, um, and give you my insights as someone who's covered this industry for 25 years. But what you generally don't see from me, we've talked about the Spider-Man figure and the price and stuff, but you don't see me doing clickbait headlines, Hasbro sucks for selling this figure for $50, or, this is a complete and utter ripoff. And, I mean, that gets attention. It creates drama and it gets attention on social media, which gets you views and clicks. But that is something I try very careful not to resort to. I don't mind talking about these things. I don't mind sharing my insights, my thoughts, but, you know, doing it for the attention only is not something you're going to find on this channel. So, Kobo Cop, Jay, why has Hasbro been putting holes in the bottoms of their Marvel Legends figures for so many years when they don't give us stands? Are the holes part of the manufacturing or something? Sometimes you get stands. You can buy stands. There are a lot of independent stands out there that you can buy. So I think that's part of it. I think it is throwback. I mean, if you go back all the way to the 80s, going back to lines like Star Wars and stuff, pig holes have always been just part of a line. So I think that's somewhat it. But again, even though Hasbro doesn't really usually give you figure stands, you can go out and buy figure stands that will work with Marvel Legends. So it's nice that they include that, I think. So I think that's why they continue to do it. Jerry says it's the female Marvel that are hard to stand, especially the older ones where the legs got really rubbery and they would often collapse on their. So I use, when I don't like figure stands because even the smaller ones often take up valuable shelf space because the figure stands are usually wider than the figure. So they're taking up shelf space. So what I often use, and it doesn't always work, or eventually the tape wears off, but I just use double sticky tape. And you got to be careful with the kind that you use, because sometimes, especially if you're putting it on something that can be hard to get it off. But this kind of this is Gorilla double stick tape that I often use. So this is what I often use when I'm putting a figure where it's in an area where I think it'll easily fall, as opposed to a figure stand. And you can cut it so you can do it just of the length of the figures. And like I say, over time, sometimes the tape wears off and you got to replace it or whatever. But that's what I often use as opposed to figure stands, because like I say, even smaller figure stands, I find, they take up more space than I would like on the shelf. Um, and so when you're like got a lot of figures on one shelf, it can be difficult with the figure stand. Does that particular Gorilla Tape leave residue? I have not. It's pretty easy to pull off without serious residue. I guess it depends on the surface. Um, I don't usually use it on glass surfaces. So, like those X-Men figures you see back there, not the Sentinels that just fell over, but most of those X-Men figures, I'm using this tape. And I've pulled off the tape and I haven't had any issues. So I've used other like thinner type of tapes that do leave a residue or harder to get off. So that's why I really like this Gorilla Tape. The color, there's like a clear version of this. I do not recommend because it really sucks. But I found this kind is pretty good. I also use it for like a lot of the comics because that wall back there is concrete. So it's not like you can it's not easy to like nail something in or use thumbtacks or anything. So like those comics that you see back there, those are all I'm using also the same tape for those. And I will tell you, because like that's a duct, that's like a heating duct. So sometimes the tape will wear off because like when it heats up, not like super hot, but it gets warm, and that sometimes causes the tape to lose its adhesiveness. So occasionally those will fall off, and I'll have to put them back up. But for the most part, I think it works pretty well. All right, well, we've gone well over the hour. I should be back on Friday. We should have a decent amount of news to talk about with tomorrow's Marvel Legend live stream. So I should almost definitely be back on Friday. Next week's schedule, a little up in the air. We'll see on Monday, maybe. If not, definitely should be here next Wednesday. But then like next Friday, I will be on my way to Toy Fair. And then I probably might do some videos from Toy Fair over that weekend. So again, next week's schedule will be a little bit up in the air, but I should have some good things for you from Toy Fair next weekend. And of course, we'll have instant news up on the sites as it's available. So, but again, this Friday, I should definitely be back at 3 p.m. and we'll talk Marvel Legend reveals and what other news happens between now and then. So thank you guys for tuning in once again today. It's always much appreciated. Salome appreciates it too. She's over here getting into trouble. Stay safe out there. And until next time, guys, I will catch you later. Thanks for watching today's video. Now, if you're new to the channel, please think about hitting that subscribe button. Also hit the bell notification so you're alerted every time I upload a new video. For all the latest action figure news, be sure to head over to ToyNewsEye.com, MarvelousNews.com, JediInsider.com, and TFormers.com. And remember, action figures are great,